Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Galaxy of Hero video. And today, we bring you the new patch. That's right, level 80 is upon us. If you hadn't noticed yet, in your upper left-hand side here, you can actually gain experience again. Ooh, very exciting news. So really, this isn't just a level 80 patch. This is the patch of confusion, worry, and consternation among Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes players. So this patch is rather divisive. Let's go through why this patch is so divisive. So on the one hand, let's look at the positives of moving the game to level 80. By moving the game to level 80, it is sort of a replacement for new content. There isn't a lot really you can do in the game right now, but by making it so you can get to level 80, for some players, this is a real positive because now they feel like they can actually do something with the game. They can have a feeling of moving forward, that they've got this energy bar that's going up. They have all these cool characters. They're going to be able to unlock the newer, updated versions of their abilities. All kinds of changes like that are going to happen. Also, more battles open up in light side and dark side battles. New squad cantinas battles open up, allowing for more characters. So from one perspective, you could say, while it's not new content as in a new mode, it's definitely something to get your juices flowing a bit, something to do within the game for those people that felt like they were really bored. Now, if you've seen my other videos, I didn't feel like this. I was having a great time pursuing characters I didn't have yet, like Rey, Royal Guard, all kinds of characters, trying to get them up to 7 stars. So for me, these positives aren't as positive as they could be, and this is the same for a lot of people who are playing the game. So let's look at the downside of this patch. And this patch for a lot of people has a lot of downsides. So people are looking at this patch as the Band-Aid patch, right? Like, okay, Capital Games hasn't released any new content, so they're putting a Band-Aid on this and saying like, okay, go get to level 80. That'll keep you occupied for a little while. And in some ways this is reasonable, but we do know that there is a bigger patch coming. And probably what happened is, in order to move the game along, they do feel like they need to get people to level 80 and beyond, as characters have different skill levels and different abilities. I'm personally rooting for a slow progression in this regard versus a fast progression, but that's just the way I play the game. I enjoy going through and catching up with the stuff I've missed rather than always trying to be on that cutting edge. Because as a free-to-play player, it's very hard to be pushing the cutting edge. I feel like with a new patch like this, I'm suddenly going to be way behind for, say, a month while I catch up to the paying players who are able to very rapidly go through player levels. So another huge change was gear. And so gear is a number of pieces of gear. They've added 50 other purples to them to be able to get them. And not just purples, but also a new mat, which is gold. And so this has been particularly problematic for some people who feel like, well, I was going along fine. These hairdryer things are already impossible to get. For those of you who don't know what the hairdryer is, it's this, the Chai-Wab hypo syringe. Everyone just calls it the hairdryer. All my characters need 50 of these. So I am so far away to being able to level up my guys anyway. And now you're throwing on top of that 50 other gear. And then for those people who had really been grinding gear hard and hoping like, all right, I'm going to be level 70 today. Within 2 weeks, I'll be 80. All my guys will be geared up. There was a little caveat. Another stealth change that wasn't in the patch notes, which was, oh, by the way, there's also going to be gold mats. Oh, by the way, they're not in the game. So some people are livid about this. I've met many of people who have said, I'm quitting the game over this. If you're asking for my perspective, I don't think this is something to quit the game over. I think if you were already thinking, I don't like this game, then maybe this is a moment where you rethink the level of commitment you want to make to the game. If you are enjoying the game, though, I think you need to wait till the next big patch. They've already said that there's going to be easier ways to get gear. One of these easier ways is going to be with the challenges, and this is another positive to the patch, right? So now the agility challenge, it's at 72, there's better gear, and you have to think that it's going to be more plentiful purples. Probably golds will end up going in there. We'll have to see how it is that you get golds. But there's supposedly all kinds of new cool stuff on the horizon. And this level 80 patch is just to kind of get us going there. And also they brought back with this Yoda. He's back. You got 5 days left. And I'll make another video just in a few minutes actually about the Yoda challenge as I try to move up and get Yoda. Alright, so the bottom line is there's not a lot of changes in this patch. Level 80 is upon us. What it is showing us is that EA has this stealth patch thing they do. So be careful. When you see patch notes, treat them more like a patch preview, knowing there may be some really critical aspects that are being left out of the patch notes. So this is about the third or fourth time we've seen this, so be careful. One last thing also, or actually two other things. Geonosian Soldier got changed. If you remember, I've been talking about this in my last video about the Geonosian Soldier. I talked about how at the next level, this was going to be -1 cooldown, which meant you could cast Swarm every single turn, which was going to be totally bonkers ridiculous. And everyone said because of that, he's going to have to be nerfed. There's just no way they can do that. The change they made instead was upping his damage on this attack. So this is a really important thing for moving forward with trying to predict metas and make radical changes to your lineup based on predictions. Predictions are hard to make with this game. As we've seen, there's been a lot of changes. You know, people predicted Poe would still be amazing, and then speed completely changed and wasn't in the patch notes. And so I will warn you, it's hard to predict metas. I'm not saying you should totally steer away from it, but don't destroy everything just to try to make a prediction and get on top of that. It's a risky move. I will say, though, that one prediction that did work very well is after the patch notes were released and they said, hey, by the way, tomorrow gear is going to cost 50 more purples. A whole bunch of real smart people went ahead and just crafted piles of it before the change went in. And so this is actually going to cause a pretty serious problem. And one example is Qui-Gon. Apparently at gear level 8, you need to actually start having the higher level gold mats to be able to progress farther. But apparently, according to what some people have found, is that if you actually pre-made your gear, you can actually get all the way to gear level 11, which is a huge difference. If some people are stuck on 8, and some people are allowed to get to 11, and the other people stuck at 8 can't even move because they don't have access to the gold gear, it's going to be an issue. So I'm hoping that Capital Games does something, whether this is taking away that gear, making it so that you can't go above a certain level until the gold gear comes into the game. Sort of like what they did with Darth Vader. It's like, okay, you can make Darth Vader whatever level you want, but his stats sort of max out at 5. You can do the same thing with you know, other characters based on gear going too high. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle this. Basically, this patch is, the best way to summarize it is it's kind of a disastrous patch in that a lot of people have come away with it really upset. And I think anytime that's the case, the company who made the patch has to realize this didn't really work out quite how we envisioned it. You know, maybe in our minds, this is different. The perception is different. But the perception of the community for this patch is this is the disaster patch, and we're just sort of waiting for the next patch to come in and fix this disaster. So for me, I'm not quite as dire. I'm just going to have a good time getting my guys to 80. It'll be what it's going to be. As a free-to-play player, I know that although I've been #1 in Arena for like 10 straight days, that's done, right? That's done for a month or so until I can catch back up, and then I'll make my push again. So I'm not going to be too upset, but be careful. People are really upset about this patch. So I'll see you next time on Tiny Grimes Games.